Yeah, I mean, I looked at the editorial today from Jacinta Price, and it's interesting. And I just put this to Tony Burke as well. They argue that that whoever represents the voice in Parliament, they'll be seeking holdouts in exchange for favours in much the same way that independent senators do. Is that a concern that you have?
Well, I mean, it is a concern because none of these issues have been addressed. Anthony Albanese hasn't said how he will prevent that from happening. Now, if the voice is set up and that does happen, I don't think that's what Australians view the voice as. But the trouble is, without that detail, none of us know whether that will happen or not. And we're definitely not having the Prime Minister coming out and saying, well, no, that won't happen because we'll be doing this. No, that won't happen because we'll be doing that. He's basically saying, trust me. And that is a big thing to do when it comes to changing the Australian Constitution, which is the foundation stone on which we are governed.
OK. Jim Chalmers has outlined a vision of what shape he believes capitalism should take in this country. What are your thoughts on what you've read so far?
Well, what he's advocating for is bigger government, more taxes, more public servants, and I think most concerning of all to small business, what we will see is more regulation, more red tape. I think it's a recipe for regulation and red tape, for government and public servants dictating how you will run your small business, not leaving it up to you to do what you can do best, and that's to generate jobs in this country. So I think at the start of this year, what we're seeing already is we're going to see a lot more of the Albanese Labor government in your business.
Right.
And I don't think that's going to be a good thing for this country.
What if free markets are failing, though? Could that not need some government assistance?
Look, there are instances where obviously you do need government intervention. But what Jim Chalmers is saying is that right across the board, you're going to get more red tape, more regulation, more taxes, and public servants telling you how to run your business, not leaving it up to you. Now, that won't work. We've been here before under Whitlam in this country. It didn't work. It won't work now. But at least Jim Chalmers and Anthony Albanese are now being honest about how they're going to run the government. Before the election, they said, oh, no, very minimal changes, very much business as usual. Now we're seeing them start to set out their manifesto, which is all about more government in your face.
Right.
And we all know that won't work.
Just a final one here, though. He makes the point that super funds could be investing more in social programs such as housing, disability support, aged care. Does he not have a point there?
Well, super funds should be making sure that their number one priority is getting a return for all those members who are investing their money with them, not going on some whim that the government wants fixed and fixed in a way which usually means that it won't lead to the proper outcomes that you need. You look at what happened with Jacinda Ardern in New Zealand and her push to fix the housing crisis over there. It didn't work. It was an abject failure. What Jim Chalmers needs to be making sure is he's focusing on that super can get the returns that they need for their members, but encouraging investment, whether it be from super funds or the private sector, into housing to make sure that we can alleviate the housing concerns. But Jim Chalmers just saying that government will solve every problem and that government and regulation and red tape are going to dictate what you do in your business will not work.